This is the Dollemore Daily, and I'm Jesse Dollemore. Donald Trump and his band of surrogates, who are contractually obligated to only say positive things about him after having signed lengthy non-disclosure and non-disparagement agreements, have been making the media rounds for many months touting the strength of the Trump economy. They lie like the laughable liars that they are and try to convince the masses that the economy was bad under President Barack Obama, contrary to the data and the plain facts of the matter. And the reason that things are booming right now, they say, is solely because of Donald Trump and his economics genius. Hell, not surprisingly, Donald Trump himself is unable to keep his burger port closed about the economy, taking full credit for that which he did not create.
And our policy can be summed up in three very simple words: jobs, jobs, jobs. The United States economy created another 260,000 jobs last month. Way, way, way above what people thought. They were making predictions much lower. Then the big one. They were thinking about 1%, 1.2%, maybe 1.5%. And our growth number came in for the first quarter, which is almost always the lowest quarter of the year, historically. 3.2%, crushing expectations. A lot of surprised people. I wasn't surprised.
Well, it should come as no shock to anyone who's operating outside of the heavy MAGA cloud of delusion that Barack Obama was forced to make some tough choices as soon as he took office, and that we are currently largely living in economic security because of those tough choices. You see, at the end of the George W. Bush presidency in 2007 and 2008, and because of several different factors such as relaxed lending standards and subprime lending and exceedingly low interest rates and regulators generally being asleep at the wheel, the United States was plunged into what is known as the Great Recession. During this period, over 8 million people lost their jobs. 4 million homes were being foreclosed on every year, and 2.5 million businesses closed their doors. The stock market was also in shambles. Both the Dow and the S&P 500 lost over half their respective values. But Barack Obama took office, and he and his team got to work to steer the U.S. economy back on track. Trump wants to bloviate about unemployment rates. Let's talk about them. When Obama became president in January 2009, in the worst part of the Great Recession, the unemployment rate was 7.8% and was climbing to 8.3% by February, peaking at 10% in October, which was 9 months into his presidency. Starting in November of 2009, the unemployment rate fell every single year. And by the time Obama left office, it was sitting at 4.8%. The U.S. unemployment rate has followed the exact same trend line that began under President Obama. Trump didn't create or cause this, he is benefiting from it. The other economic metric Trump refuses to close that hole under his nose about is the stock market. As Forbes puts it, quote, from the day after Obama's election in November 2008 until Trump's election 8 years later, the S&P 500 rose 113%. So far, since Trump's election, the index has increased 28%. From the graph below, it appears that the stock market has essentially carried on the momentum from Obama's tenure. There is one area, though, which Donald Trump is kicking Barack Obama's ass. Although it's not a good one. It's deficit spending. As you can see, when Obama took office, the deficit increased due to a concerted effort to save the United States economy and prevent the Great Recession from turning into another Great Depression. And as I said, coming out of the Bush years, the economy was in shambles and had caused tax revenues to fall. There was sharply increased spending on things such as unemployment benefits. After peaking at $1.4 trillion in fiscal year 2009, which was only 8 months after having taken office, it fell to a low of $438 billion in 2015, and then ticked up slightly to $585 billion in fiscal year 16, just before Barack Obama left office. Again, though, in those first years when deficits were insane, it was because of the necessary government intervention to avoid a total collapse of the economy. Trump's deficits, which are on par with those emergency years of Obama's, are happening when the economy is robust and healthy. These kinds of deficits are irresponsible at the very least and dangerous, because what will happen if the economy falters even slightly? Those over $1 trillion deficits will most certainly balloon to astronomical and record-setting numbers. But Trump doesn't care. He's only about how the country does while he's in office and has no concern for the medium to long-term health of the nation. So next time some MAGA troll tries to parrot a Trump talking point about the economy, set him straight. Trump is just doing what he's done his entire life. The economy most of us are enjoying right now is just like all the piles of money he got from his daddy. He inherited it from someone else and is then taking credit for it as though he created it.